Hello, good evening. Welcome to Hinton RCMP Town Hall. It is our spring session. We had one in the fall in the Yellowhead County, and this session will be held in the town of Hinton. So my name is Staff Sergeant Shiloh Fregamini. I'm the detachment commander here in Hinton. And tonight I come before you to discuss what Hinton RCMP has been doing for the last year, as well as the focus that we will be looking for next year's annual performance, which I will refer to as our APP. In addition to talking to you about our annual performance, I brought along with me Constable Van Dalen, who will speak to you about how to protect yourself further against becoming a victim of theft. He'll also talk to you about what happens if somebody is arrested and charged with theft and brought before the courts. This information will be vital so that you're able to protect yourself against becoming a victim and understanding the justice system a little bit further so we can all work together for a common goal. We have a couple of rules. We have a couple of people in the gallery here, as well as we have a few online. We will have a question session at the end of the town hall in which questions will be requested, and then I will repeat them back so everybody's able to hear and we can have a meaningful conversation. The 2023 and 2024 APP that just ended will be ending April 1st. Our focus was to decrease injury collisions in the town of Hinton, and that was being done through the issuing of violation tickets, JFOs, which is Joint Force Operations, and the Traffic Working Group. We also focused on reducing theft through writing search warrants, warrant statements, and hotspot patrols, which means making patrols in areas that are seen with higher crime rate. Lastly, we wanted to maintain a positive relationship with people in Hinton and Yellowhead County through Coffee with a Cop program, patrols in the county, increased patrols other than in a police vehicle, and community engagements. We had a number of lowlights and highlights through the year in 2023, 2024. Go through a couple of the lowlights. We had numerous transfers out of our detachment, which means it takes time for new members to learn our community, learn the types of crime that we have in our community, and then for them to be comfortable with our contacts. We also had decrease of 2 positions in the town of Hinton last spring. Positions were unfunded but not removed, which helps the positions if we need them to come back. Fire season started last May, and the province required numerous members from Hinton to travel to other areas to help with the evacuations. We also lost our traffic position through the downsizing. A couple of the highlights that we experienced last year, we acquired 2 new skidoos for the patrols made in the rural area. We have a member trained in DRE, which is the drug recognition program, and it helps to bring drug impaired investigations before the courts. We have a member that was trained in PCE, which is our ident, which helps us remain timely in our investigations related to fingerprints and evidence collecting at crime scenes. Our rural pack, which is our rural police and crisis team, was up and running as of last year. And this year we will have a nurse that will partner with the police officer to make a more proactive approach to mental health calls in our community. Business plan has been on forward for a side-by-side for the detachment so we can make patrols in the Dunes area, as well as other land in and around Hinton. And lastly, we will be doing media releases at the beginning of every month. Starting in April, this will help the Hinton RCMP communicate better with the residents of Hinton about the types of calls and services that the members are attending, as well as tips to help them remain safe. So we had a few results from the last year's APP. Our violation tickets are lower than expected, but we also had ATE, which is photo radar, assist us in writing tickets during that time. Our theft rate had increased, but members are encouraging residents to report all property crime so that hotspot policing could be done and crime map is up to date in regards to where the most of the crime is seen in Hinton. So we can focus our efforts on those areas. We have a crew unit, which is also our plain clothing unit, which has 2 active members, and they've been in the rural areas creating calls for service through attending businesses to report calls such as copper theft, as well as attempted break and enters. All of these tactics will increase the files related to theft. Community engagement continues to be our focus as part of our job, which the members really enjoy. We try to make it out to many community events, as well as the schools for presentations and games with the kids. Moving forward, the new APP, which will be the 2024-2025, will be the same focus, such as decrease injury collisions, decrease theft, and community engagement. Some of the tactics will change in regards to decreasing theft, and we will focus more on intel gathering, as well as condition checks. Community engagement will remain the same, except we will add the media release at the beginning of every month, as well as a positive ticket program. More information will come in regards to that. We do need your help. We need your say. So Hinton RCMP are looking to decrease collisions in Hinton. So we would like input from the residents of Hinton, as well as other stakeholders. If you could email or call me at the detachment to provide your input. We need to know that how you would move forward to decreasing injury collisions and making our streets safer. I'm going to turn it over to Constable Van Dalen, who will speak more about how to protect yourself against becoming the victim of theft.
Hello, I'm Constable Van Dalen. A lot of these will sound very basic, but these are a lot of the issues that we see when we attend different scenes for different types of thefts. Some basic points for you would be lock the house when you leave. I know many people in the rural area, as well as in this town, do not necessarily lock their house, especially if they're only gone for a short period of time or just down the road. Turn on an outside light around your house. This more pertains to at night. If an area is well lit, there is less chance that it will be target for criminals. Let your neighbors know if you'll be gone for a long period of time or to check on your property. Many people like to vacation in the winter to go down to somewhere warm. During these times, it is very recommended that you have a neighbor or a friend or family come and check by your house periodically, shovel the driveway, make it look like someone's home, and check the security of your residence as well. A big one that we see is people not locking their vehicles. We've had many files where we report that theft from a vehicle and they report to us that the vehicle was not locked. Regardless of if you're leaving your vehicle running, warming up in the morning, or if you are just running in for a second, lock your vehicle. It does not take long for someone to jump in the driver's seat and drive away with it. Do not leave your valuables in your vehicle or in plain view at all. Many times when people are looking for a target to go into for a vehicle, they will look for, if they see a wallet, a cell phone, something of value that it's a quick break of the window, they snatch and grab your items, and then they're gone. And unfortunately, you are stuck with a damaged window and a missing item as well. Anything suspicious, any suspicious things in your area, thefts, please report them to the RCMP. The more we know, the better we can focus our efforts on where to send our units and where to do more proactive patrols. Even if you think, oh, it's nothing, this is going to go on, this is what we want to know about. We would much rather investigate it and have it turn out to be just your neighbor that you haven't met yet than an actual crime in progress here. During the winter, the RCMP also conducted the Cold Start program. This had officers drive around in the early mornings during the cold winter days with people warming up their cars. This is to educate people, again, on locking your vehicle or keeping it attended while the vehicle is warming up. This is usually a prime spot for vehicle thefts, as you go out, you start your car, you go back in, finish making your lunch, your morning coffee before work, and that is when your car is stolen. Unfortunately, with the keys in there, and probably a full tank of gas, these thefts are rather hard to solve. One option to help combat this is a steering wheel lock, which the RCMP does have a couple of these wonderful things in our possession right now. The Hinton detachment currently has 2 of them available. These locks prevent the use of the steering wheel from being used. So when they're engaged, it is very hard to turn the steering wheel fully, therefore enabling it not to be used in its full capacity, and usually deterrent for thefts as well. I'm going to move on to what happens when a person is arrested for theft or just about any other charge. This comes down, a lot of complaints we've had is these people keep getting arrested and released right away. When we arrest someone, there is many variables that go into it. One of them is do we hold them for a hearing or do we release them on what we call a release document? The main things that go into this is what we call PRICE, which stands for public interest, repetition of the offense, identity, court, and evidence. If one or more of those are not met, then we typically hold them for what's called a judicial interim release hearing. During that hearing, we keep them in jail and we present all our evidence and present it to our lawyer, and they speak with a justice or a judge, and they decide what happens with the individual, if they end up getting released or if they go to jail. If price is met and the offense is deemed that we do not have to hold them for a hearing, then we'll release them on one of two types, either appearance notice or an undertaking. When it's released on one of those two types, they are given a fingerprint date. For anyone charged with the offense need to be fingerprinted, and they're also given a court date with potential conditions as well. Once those are in place, it goes in front of the courts. That is up to the courts and the lawyers after we issue those and complete all our court disclosure for them. Then it goes through first appearance, where first appearance is usually whether they choose guilty or not guilty, and then it proceeds to trial. After that more relates to the lawyers and the judges doing what they're paid to do. In regards to these lovely steering wheel locks that we currently have 2 available at the Hinton detachment. If you would like one, it's first come, first serve. Please contact Staff Sergeant Fragamini here, or give her an email or a call to hopefully come and pick one up.
Thank you, Constable Van Dalen. We'll now move to question period. If anybody has any questions for us, we have a couple people in the gallery. We have Councillor Trevor Haas and Emergency Services Director in the gallery here. And do we have any questions online? Not at this time.
I have a question for you. So thanks for presenting today. It's really good information, but I would like to ask if there is any mechanism in place in Hinton that if I see a serious concern or criminal activity, or what I think is a criminal activity, that I can report that and remain anonymous, and in case I'm concerned about my own safety or any repercussions.
That's a good question. So the question was, is there any way to report a crime anonymously so that there's no repercussions for making the report? We see this often in report drug houses, and many of those cases, you're living next to the drug house or you're living across from the drug house. We suggest obviously reporting it to the police so that we have an idea that the drug house is there, but we also utilize other partner agencies such as SCAN, and that acronym stands for Safe Community and Neighborhoods. If you were to look it up online, just SCAN, and it will pop up. It's a way to go online and anonymously report the drug house. The agency that is in charge of SCAN is the sheriffs, and they will put the work that needs to be done, whether it's surveillance or working with the banks who fund the homes, or landlord, tenants, the town of Hinton, so that we can start shutting down some of the drug homes in order to make our communities a safer place to live. So we strongly encourage people to, once again, report it to the RCMP so that we are aware of the house, as well as go online. Also, Crime Stoppers, we still get Crime Stopper tips, which is an anonymous base where you can report it, and then we have to investigate it and report it back through Crime Stoppers, so that information is not even reported to us as to who made the tip. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. And what website is SCAN again? How do you get to that?
So if you just go into Google and you just SCAN, which stands for Safe Community and Neighborhoods, and it's an online document that you can fill out, and the agency will contact you for more information. And it's really a great way to start shutting down drug houses other than laying charges before the courts. Because as Constable Van Dalen had mentioned, there's a lot of ways that we can put people before the courts, but sometimes it looks like we catch and release. If they don't have a criminal record, it's much harder to keep people before the courts before they are seen as guilty or have to plead guilty or not guilty. So if you need any information in regards to SCAN, by all means, my information is online, as well as come down to the detachment. My door is always open. I'm always open for a conversation, and I can further that conversation in regards to SCAN, as well as the town of Hinton will be putting it on their website, more information there so that it's easily accessible.
And this is what we've been hearing some of the cities and stuff shutting down their drug houses is successful with the scan. But that's through the sheriff's department, you said, right?
That's correct. And they also work with AHS.
Okay.
We've seen it often with grow-ops because grow-ops within homes are very unsafe and uninhabitable. You can't live in a house that has a grow-op in it anymore. So they were really shutting down homes with AHS. But they use many different agencies that will assist them. Like I said, through the bank, through the town of Hinton, they're able to utilize a lot of the court system to remove a home if somebody's utilizing it for a criminal activity. Small crimes online. So the question is there a way to report small crimes online? So we do have an online reporting system for the RCMP. The easiest way to explain it, it's a online forum that is reported through K Division, which is in Edmonton, and they would investigate it from there. If there's no further investigation for a local member to do further, they would review it and then it would be closed. It's a good way to report crime, but I also believe that the police have a part in knowing where the crimes are, such as somebody may see a mailbox break-in as a small crime. If it's reported online, the members aren't aware of it, and we don't start making patrols during certain times of the day to watch for these mailbox thefts. So I do encourage residents to report it through the detachment, through our complaint line, and then it's downloaded to a local member, and the local member is aware of it. And every day we have daily meetings, and we bring up files where we need to make patrols at night or a little bit more of the crime trends. And it allows us to know more about what's happening in our community. So no, I would say no crime is a small crime to report to your local police.
And we still have the system in Hinton where you map the possible crimes, suspicious behavior, things like that. So that's something a community member can also look at, right? To keep an eye open so that if there's a high rate of crimes in one area, then, I mean, I realize we should be locking our doors always, but, you know, it's just a way of knowing that maybe there's a greater likelihood in a certain area, but that still is online. And that's but through reporting to your office, correct?
Absolutely. So the question was, is there any way to see where there is higher crime rate in Hinton versus other areas? There is, and I believe it is on the Town of Hinton website. And we also follow that. It is through our stats that information is collected. And that's how we do hotspot policing, which basically means so if we have an area that is has higher crime at a certain time of the day, then that's where my members are making patrols and reporting on suspicious activity and that sort of thing. So we really need it's eyes in the community. We do as many patrols as we possibly can, but eyes in the community and reporting suspicious people, reporting, because we all know criminals travel in vehicles. So if you see a suspicious vehicle in your area that shouldn't be there, we all know when a vehicle shouldn't be there, by all means, call us and we will come and check out that vehicle. No, and as I said, no crime is too small, no crime, we will respond to all crimes that are called in.
Are we having any, because with the online shopping and, you know, deliveries to the door, do you get a lot of reports on that type of crime in our community, or is that something people don't report? Should they report it? You know, because I mean, on this day and age with online, you know, shopping and delivery, but is that something that we see here, or is that not so much happening?
So the question is are we seeing more online type of?
Well, stealing the packages.
Oh, I see.
So
So
Amazon
Amazon.
parcels, Amazon, when they deliver to the door, are we seeing people, and if so, what should we, community members, be doing to protect their packages? Because it can't be home all the time for delivery, so any thoughts?
Yeah, I'll let Councilor Van Dalen.
It does happen. We do have that, there has been files in our area where, but the common name is porch pirates, so stealing packages that are delivered. No, everyone can't be home all the time. My suggestion to that would be have a neighbor obtain your package for you if they're on different shifts, if they're retired. Or if someone can swing home at lunch to when they're letting out their dog, again, just take the packages in for them. The less time they're out in the open, the better. Amazon is great. It's fast delivery. It's right to your doorstep. But during the working hours, when a lot of it is dropped off, that's when I would suggest either having someone come home at lunch, ask a neighbor, a friend, or bringing it to an area where you know the person is going to be home so they can hold on to your package for you. So it's not necessarily dropped off at your home, but it could be in a safe place.
We do encourage people to report. I believe we don't get as many reports as we should because Amazon doesn't require somebody to have a police file number to get the item returned. So I believe it happens probably more often than we're aware of.
Well, and I see a lot of times people are posting delivered to a wrong door if you see my package, when the likelihood is it was delivered, it just was picked up by somebody possibly. But I just again, it's because some of those could be some large items and stuff. So
Absolutely.
And it doesn't just happen at Christmas. So
We have a couple questions online. We have one asking if we've ever done an open house style event for families to meet fire, RCMP, and peace officers. I've been here for a year and a half, and I have yet to have an open house such as that, but I do appreciate the feedback, and I will work with the Director of Emergency Services, and maybe we can pull that together in the spring to have some families come out and see our fire trucks and our police cars and meet the people in their community. We do have an event coming up here, April the 13th. We have Battle of Badges here at the rec center, and we encourage people to come out, drop off a donation for the local food bank, and come and see your local heroes battle it out on the ice. And hopefully the RCMP can take a win this year, unlike other years. There was one other question online. It says, do you have any plans to bring back Hinton Family Safety Nights? As I said, I've been here for a year and a half, and I'm not aware of what this program is.
So Hinton Family Safety Nights was actually put on by the mill many years ago. The mill usually organized it, and all the community groups got together, but it was quite a big endeavor. It took up a whole arena, had lots of different agencies, but there was a decision not to anymore. It was quite costly. It was a lot of days and everything. So there has not, as a community that I'm aware of, that have looked at looking at starting that up again. But it was RCMP were there. I remember they used to bring their drag car there, and it was mostly for kids and family and things. But yeah, it hasn't been happening for quite some time now. So yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. One other question here: can you have packages delivered to the post office if you can't be at home to receive them?
That is up to answer that question. That is up to the post office or whatever business you choose. In my previous post, there was a local business that would accept FedEx packages, Amazon packages for a bunch of the local residents. And then they would just come there after work to pick them up. But that is up to each individual post office or business that you would like to send it to.
Thank you. I really believe in order to stop the theft of many different items as well as suspicious activity is that we need to be good neighbors. And if you see a package on your neighbor's front step, that you can hold on to it until they get home so that we're all looking out for each other in that regard. I know my neighbor, we used to do it for each other, and it was the easiest way. It also keeps criminals out of your area. If they know that there's a large amount of packages, they will continue to keep coming back to see if they can steal more items. So it helps keep your community safe, the whole neighborhood, not just the incident. Is there any further questions there, Alexa? No? Anybody else in the gallery?
Just wondering what the RCMP, I mean, with the threat of fire in our community, possibly, what is the RCMP doing in your department to prepare for that, to assist? Because I mean, you play a vital role in our community, keeping it safe if by chance we get evacuated or something like that. But yeah, just maybe for the community is what is happening behind the scenes, I guess, when it comes to that. But hopefully it isn't needed, but, you know, just in case.
So the question was, what's the RCMP doing to further the confidence in making sure that our community is safe during the upcoming wildfire season? I've had numerous conversations with the Director of Emergency Services, as well as the CAO of the town of Hinton, as well as Yellowhead County. So these conversations have been taking place from January all the way up to last week. We really are focusing on building what we had done last year in regards to ensuring that our evacuation plan is up to date. It's on the town Hinton website, as well as making sure that other departments, such as we have a K Division DOC, which is our emergency services, they're stood up at this time so that they continue to monitor throughout Alberta where the wildfire season may start. They are there for us, for our communities, and they're able to send us members if we need for evacuations, for roadblocks. So a lot of these plans have already been put in place starting probably well before even January. And this week, Director of Emergency Services and myself, we spoke a little bit about meeting with different stakeholders throughout Hinton and finding out what each organization has in place for their evacuation plan. It's important that we as the RCMP have an evacuation plan, but it's also important for each individual agency and person to have their own evacuation plan. So we have to make sure that we have a 72-hour bag ready to go, that you are able to live by yourself for 3 days until we are able to get such things as power and water and plans in place. So you have to make sure that you have your bag ready to go at all times, as well as there's a plan to move people out of the bigger buildings and that sort of thing. So definitely we've learned our certain lessons from last year, and we've made them into bigger plans for this year. And we'll continue this discussion as we go on. And each month we continue to have the conversation so that we can communicate with the community through the Town of Hinton Facebook as to what needs to be done to protect themselves during the wildfire season.
That's another question I have, because it's come up in past fires and some controversy over those that want to stay. So when an evacuation if an evacuation were to be called, what is the law on staying in your home?
So there is, we do have the Director of Emergency Service who would probably be better to answer this question.
So I can stay off camera. So typically when an evacuation is called, it occurs in 2 stages. There's a voluntary evacuation where we would put out word that we need to start preparing to evacuate, or we need to start evacuating certain areas. And on a voluntary basis, people can leave now, and we would support that. When it comes to a mandatory evacuation, that's exactly what it is. It's a mandatory evacuation, and people are required to leave. And for their own safety and for the safety of everybody else, including the responders to the emergency. That's really where it lies. It's there for their safety and everyone else's safety, that when a mandatory evacuation is put in place, that they leave as quickly as possible, and they have their 72-hour kit prepared, and they have a full tank of gas, and everybody should take that into consideration. And even now, before there's any potential evacuations, and like you said earlier, hopefully it doesn't come to that. People should be considering things like, do they have home insurance? Is everything in place? What have they done on their properties to protect or to minimize the spread of fire if a fire does occur? We have a Fire Smart program that the fire services is promoting right now, and Fire Smart education. And I encourage everyone to look into that. Contact the fire services, our Fire Smart champion, and we can help them answer any questions and inquiries with regards to that. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question online here. can you talk more about the Alberta RCMP youth camps? We have 2 youth camps that run through the summer. And when I do get information, I normally put it out on the Town of Hinton website. I do know that there's also an Indigenous RCMP youth camp that applications are being accepted till April 30th. By all means, if you're interested in something that such as one of these youth camps, please come down to the detachment or call me. I will email you the information. Strongly encourage youth to get out and go to these camps. We encourage we want RCMP members to grow up from the time that they're 10 years old to dream to become a police officer. So if you have the dream to be one of us, then by all means get a hold of me and I will give you the information that's needed to apply for one of these camps, as well as each one of the high schools has been given this information. So maybe speak to one of the counselors at the high school. They also may have this information for you.
So on that note, you've been doing a lot of recruiting, I noticed, in our community, seen a lot on Facebook. So there's a lot of opportunity, obviously, and it's the most I've seen in our community and even in the public. So is there somewhat of a concern of recruits, or it's just bolstering it?
I would say it's a couple different reasons why there's been such a push for recruiting of RCMP. One would be I love the job that I am. I love the career that I've chosen, and I believe that if I can love something so much that I would love for other people to join me. So I'm a huge promoter of the RCMP, and I always have been. In saying that, COVID took a bit of a turn for our recruiting, as well as we were unable to utilize our depot as much as possible to put large amounts of people into it. And therefore, now we're feeling the effects of those people coming out of depot. So definitely we had a decrease in applicants during that time, but it's definitely come back and we are starting to see more recruits in our communities. We currently will have 3 new members here coming to Hinton within the next couple of months. They're not recruits, but the recruits are going to probably the larger centers to be trained, and then they move out to the rural areas where we may work with 2 or 3 members versus more members that are able to train them there. So kind of twofold, I would say, in regards to the fact that I love recruiting for the RCMP because I love the job, but also we need people on the front line. And if you feel as though you fit the mold, then by all means come down, have a chat with me, and I'll get you started on the application. We also are doing ride-alongs for those who are interested in becoming an RCMP. So if that's something that interests you, or you need to experience a little bit of what we do on the front line, then come see me and we'll do some paperwork and take you out for a ride-along. There's no further questions. I'll conclude tonight's event. I really appreciate all the questions online as well as in the gallery. It helps us answer a few of the questions that are on people's minds. So in closing, I want to thank everybody, all the stakeholders and the groups in Hinton that provided feedback for this year's APP thus far. I look forward to what the next year will bring for us. And as Constable Van Dalen had mentioned, we have 2 steering wheel column. Come see me. They're first come, first serve. I have 2 of them come to the detachment tomorrow morning, and I'm there 8 o'clock. So please come pick them up. It's just an added area of protection for your vehicle, especially those vehicles that don't have chip keys. They're very, these steering wheel columns will work for those types of vehicles. If you have a chip key, we ask that you not leave the chip key in the vehicle. So if anybody wants to speak to me further about anything we discussed tonight or anything that's in your mind, please come down and see me at the detachment or send me an email. All my contact information is online. Thank you.